What's up guys, welcome back to Man Cave Collectibles, coming at you today with another figure review. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Mighty Morphin King Sphinx. So this is an enemy from the original TV series. So if you've been keeping up with my channel, I collect the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from the Hasbro Lightning Collection. I pretty much stick to the main original line, kind of where it all began. One of the few complaints I've had, I mentioned it in my pumpkin wrapper review, is this, that they really haven't dabbled into all the monsters that was kind of in the catalog of that show. We're finally starting to see that with Pumpkin Wrapper and now with Mighty Morphin King Sphinx. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at this guy's box. Just the same as with the Pumpkin Wrapper, we have this Deluxe Size Box. This is the first time we're seeing this is with these two characters. Got a nice image here, promotional artwork here of Sphinx there on the side, wraps around to this side on the back. We got a nice product shot of King Sphinx with his accessories and the effects that go along with that. Looking really nice, and kind of the same thing on this side as what we see on the front of the packaging. Let's go ahead and crack him out of his box, see what we got. All right guys, we have King Sphinx out of his packaging, and here on our review table, this just really beautiful creation of Finster from the original show. Speaking of Finster, that's another figure we do need, Hasbro. If you're out there watching, that would be a fantastic figure. He's definitely a main character. And most of these monsters were his creation at the end of the day, so it'd be a nice addition. But yeah, King Sphinx looking phenomenal. I'll throw up a side-by-side image here so you can see what he actually looked like in the actual show. And they really nailed him. I mean, this is identical pretty much in most ways to what we actually seen in the show itself. So really good job there. Let's jump right on into accessories. So the first thing is what we actually saw him with is his staff in the show. We got probably painted up here on the top, painted plastic here with this yellow shading kind of at the hook area, and then probably molded blue plastic here for the actual handle of it. Stands right at about chest height, looks really good with him. Gotta have that, probably is his most iconic accessory. They nailed it. He also gets this effect, kind of similar to what we saw with the Pumpkin Wrapper, but in orange. Well, Pumpkin Wrappers was a little more aggressive, there was more to it, but again, it's that same effect we've seen with Marvel Legends and now with the Lightning Collection figures. So this is something you can kind of bob and weave this up through, you know, his staff here if you wanted to. You just kind of put it up through there like that to show an effect that way if you want. Just looks really good. I like these effects, and I like that they're branching out and doing some new ones there with Marvel Legends. And with the Hasbro line, we kind of started seeing them. They kept using the same effect over and over again. So it's good to see that they're branching out and giving us something new. And then the last two accessories that we have here, we have really his staff holding hand. You can see there, it's got just basically a perfect circle there in the palm of the hand for that staff to fit down in. So that will go on his right hand. And then just a completely fully fist hand. Unable to hold anything, but it would look really good. Probably have this and the staff holding hand on him, and then he has kind of two semi-open hands or almost relaxed hands there on him straight out of packaging. Now let's jump on into the figure itself. So we'll bring him in for his close-up and take a good look at that face and face sculpt. The paintwork is really well done. For the most part, they stay inside the lines. I think they did a good job on the paintwork. You know, from time to time with Hasbro, we can see some shoddy paintwork and some issues where that's concerned, but I think they did a good job here. They did some really nice shading up here, kind of around the face, around that mouth, kind of almost like a little bit of a black wash. Looks really good. The paint here on the, I'm not sure what you call this. If you know, put it in the comments, but his hat, his hood, whatever that is, he's got it painted real nicely. The chin there looking good. It's got that cobra there up on top. You can see that it is painted real well with kind of that teal color on top and yellow on the bottom. Looking here at his shoulder armor, it's the same on both sides, and that is sculpted. It's not two different pieces. It kind of looks like two different pieces, but it's actually just one piece sculpted together. Painted real nice. these little symbols that he has painted here on his chest. Hieroglyphics, or whatever you want to call those. They look good. The red's real crisp around them, so they did a good job on that. The eye looks good. Now, something they did here, and I'm not sure how well it's showing up on camera, but there's some light blue tints kind of throughout, here across the chest, here on the forearms on both sides. So if you think back to that original picture I showed you of him, he actually had that in the show. So just nailing it here with this monster figure, I think it is just phenomenal what they've done. Moving on down, good crisp, clean lines there with the symbol there on his pants. Kind of some of that same bluish hue, as well as some black wash kind of in the muscle tone areas of his legs. And then moving on down to his feet. Would have been nice to see a little bit of color there on the nails as well as here, but some color there on the nails on the feet. We didn't get them, but they're sculpted very nicely. And he stands pretty well. He actually stands a little better than Pumpkin Wrapper does. We got a fully articulated tail back here. You can see it's just on a ball peg. It moves all around everywhere. Got some paint here on the tip of it. Looks really nice. And then we've got the nice big wings here. These are not a reuse of Goldar wings. These are completely separate sculpts that they did for this guy. So really nice that they didn't try to reuse those Goldar wings. They would have been probably too small anyways to reuse, but these look nice. And they have a little bit of a gray kind of wash over them. You can see in there's some lighter grays and some darker grays there on both sides of them. Looks really, really good. I think they did a good job. Something else to note too, he's got some different hieroglyphics and things here on his shoulder pads. So that's a nice addition as well. Didn't even notice that when we went over it on the first time looking at it. But he looks really, really good. I'm very, very happy with this one. I think this may be my favorite monster of the two up until this point. Let's go ahead and look at the articulation on this guy. Get his head down to there, get it up to there. It's extremely hindered by the cloak that he has over the top of his head here. Let's see here. We will add that back in, but while we got it off, I'll show you. It's on a little peg there with a hinge joint on it. So that just basically fits into the hole on his back. And I've not really had any issue with it coming out until that. I mean, they'll come out, there's no doubt about it. But for the most part, they've stayed on pretty well. Now, you can see here that the arm's going to be a little hindered by the shoulder armor. That's as high as I can get it. However, we can get the full 360. As long as you have the wing out of the way, you can get the full 360 because the shoulder armor is actually sculpted, or not sculpted in, but glued into the shoulder sculpt there. So it moves with the shoulder. That's nice. That keeps us from losing articulation there. Swivel here at the top of the bicep. We got double jointed elbows here. Doing a great job on that. And then here on the wrist, just the standard Marvel Legend Lightning Series wrist articulation, full 360. Because of his bulk, it hinders it slightly as far as, you know, the swivel there, or not the swivel, but the hinge. So that's a little bit, you know, hindered, but not too bad. Looking here at the chest, kind of the same thing we got with the wrapper. We got a little bit of a hinge there at the top, kind of at the bottom or top of the abdominal area. And then at the bottom of the abdominal area, he's actually got a crunch. So you can get a lot of crunch and lean with that. We also get swivel, but it's not down at the waist. It's up here in the, you know, abdominal area. So that's where you're going to have to swivel him. Coming on down, we can get out to about right there. Slightly hindered. This is a soft plastic, but it is hindered a little bit by that. We've got a cut in the upper thigh. It's very tight, but it is there. You can see that cut. And then double jointed knees. Real ratchety, which I love, especially on big figures, big bulky figures like this. Now, we do have something else here. We've got a cut at the ankle. So you can see that. You get the ankle rotation there. And then you've got your side-to-side rocker there and forward and back, no problem. Okay, so I like that. I like the way they kind of cut that ankle right there versus it all spinning right here on the foot. So that's a nice little addition. Okay, spinning on around to the back, we've already talked about it. You got the tail. The tail is on just a ball joint there. It just spins and moves freely. There is no articulation in the actual tail itself. The wings, they are, as we saw earlier, on that small hinge or ball hinge, and they just can basically flap back and forth. You can spin them around, so you got lots of movement and articulation on those wings. So you can kind of have him looking however you want to have him looking. If you want him to kind of have the wings more behind him like that, you can do that. If you really want to show them off, you can bring them out to the side. Really, really phenomenal figure here, guys. This is my favorite of the two. I can already tell just by sitting here playing, messing with him. And the sculpt is just phenomenal on this guy. Let's bring out a few figures for size comparison. Okay guys, so we got our pumpkin wrapper and we've got our Goldar figure out here, so you can just see kind of where that size stacks up here for our King Sphinx figure. He is a big guy. You can see, Goldar is kind of a bigger and bulky figure for the Lightning Collection line up until this point when we finally got our real first monsters for the line. And you can see they tower over him pretty well. So there you go. We'll take our pumpkin wrapper out. We can see him and Sphinx are around the same size. And we'll bring in just a standard Power Ranger here for you. That way you can see kind of where he stacks up, about just below the shoulder. So you can see these monsters are big figures. They really look phenomenal. They're going to have a nice shelf presence there in your Power Rangers displays and collections. I'm super excited to have them. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Love to hear from you guys. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. That helps get this video shared and out there into the YouTube community so other people can see it and find it. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. Would love to have you as part of the Man Cave Collectibles team. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time.